Hello, and thank you for joining us today for a walk down memory lane as we celebrate 25 years of STL TV. I'm Cassandra Walker.
And I'm Ivy Hartman, and I am so happy to be here for the best of STL TV. Happy to be here with you. Happy to celebrate a quarter of a century.
I am too, and we've been here for half of that quarter of a century, which is exciting. And you know, 25 years is a long time, and a lot has happened, and a lot has changed.
That's right, and you know, we've been there as a station for it all.
Absolutely, for everything, and I mean it. We've enjoyed every minute of it. So stick around today here at STL TV, and we'll take you on a stroll through time through our eyes.
That's right. So coming up now is the best of STL TV.
The past 25 years have been full of so many memorable events.
Yep, indeed. We saw the flood of '93 and the opening of the Kiel Center.
That's right, Ivy, and the changing of the name from the Kiel Center to the Scott Trade Center.
Oh yeah, and then how about we also saw the Rams come to town?
And sadly, Ivy, we saw them go. But we've not only seen change happen out in the community, we've also seen a lot of change right here at STL TV.
You're right, Cassandra. So let's take a look and see how it all began.
In 1987, a group of St. Louis City aldermen began laying the groundwork to establish the City of St. Louis's first communications division. Their hard work finally paid off in 1990 when the City of St. Louis's Communications Division officially opened with its very own government access television station, City TV 16.
City officials began planning the studio in 1987. Programming will be broadcast a few hours a day on Channel 16 of the TCI cable system.
But it wasn't until 1991 that the very first television program finally aired, called Trees and You.
Trees. We don't often think of them, but they're some of our best friends. Aside from providing happy hours of play for children, trees also give us shade from the hot summer sun.
Initially, the station's programming may have lacked creativity, but in the beginning, creativity wasn't necessarily the plan. The station's primary objective was to provide information. In fact, many of the programs that aired in the early 1990s consisted of press conferences, employee training videos, and programs aimed at providing information for City of St. Louis employees. And to help provide information for residents, we've televised every Board of Aldermen meeting since 1993. However, there would soon be a catalyst causing the station to shift its focus: the swearing in of the city's first African-American mayor, Freeman Bosley Jr., in 1993. In 1995, in an effort to open the channel of communication with citizens, Mayor Bosley and City TV 16 launched one of the station's first regular programs called City Talk with Mayor Bosley. Armed with supporting the mayor's vision of public engagement, City TV 16's role within the community was changing. City TV 16 would no longer simply dole out data to viewers, but instead would seek to deliver information that viewers both wanted and needed to hear. The years 1995 through 1998 signified this new era of thinking and led to the creation of programs specifically designed for City of St. Louis residents. City TV 16 unveiled shows like Inside St. Louis, which covered a variety of topics and highlighted the city's current events.
Inside our St. Louis City, within the heart of our neighborhoods, our community, and our government, we turn St. Louis City inside out to show you how your city operates.
Next came CDA House of the Month, which was a property showcase to inform residents about new housing opportunities and communities within city limits. Soon, Spotlight St. Louis followed, which gave viewers a preview of upcoming events and attractions around the city. But by the late 1990s, things outside of the studios were changing. 1997 saw the installation of a new mayor, former police chief Clarence Harmon.
The city of St. Louis is in the midst of a fast-paced revitalization period.
But changes were also taking place within City TV 16 as well. In 1997, we launched another new program that highlighted some of the City of St. Louis's special events, sporting contests and teams, and various places, housing, and other improvements were all featured on City Edition. Also in 1997, we debuted the long-standing series called Meet Your Alderman, known today as In Your Ward, which gives residents an up-close and personal look at their city representatives. We also partner with the city's health department to produce Healthy St. Louis, a program to help citizens lead healthier lives. At the same time that we were helping to create better lives, we were also creating better television. Now, instead of simply telling you, the viewer, what was going on within the city, we were out in the city discovering what was going on with you. Inspired, we launched new shows that focused more on you, the viewer. Shows like City Life, Neighbor to Neighbor, which highlighted the unique neighborhoods around the city of St. Louis and the people in them.
Cyrus Crane, I guess, was a realtor, and they promoted this area, and it was sort of like a great undertaking. And what was bad, it was during the Depression.
Then there was Changing Times. This was an upbeat show created for city youth and served as a forum for local teens to discuss current issues.
I think it's good with the uniforms because you know how some people, they get made fun of when they come in school. Oh, that's a nasty outfit, that's poor, that's something. But I think it's really good.
As we prepared to enter the new millennium, City TV 16 was busy acquiring new sets and new crew members. But one thing that remained the same was our focus on serving the city of St. Louis and you.
Ivy, I would never have thought that our very first show was named Trees and You. Did you know that?
I had no idea, but thankfully we've come a long way since then.
A long way since then. Well, recently I've had a privilege of sitting down with Alderman Tom Villa, who was very instrumental in creating what was then City 16.
I know, Cassandra, and I'm so glad that you were able to do that because without his efforts, none of this would even be possible. So let's take a minute and hear what Alderman Tom Villa had to say.
I'm so happy to have this opportunity to talk to you, Mr. Villa. So the 11th Ward Alderman.
Right.
First of all, before we dive into why we even have you here, what the connection is for our 25 years, how long have you been an alderman?
My current term, I've been representing the 11th Ward for the past 6 years. Prior to that, in my earlier life, when I was young and had a clearer mind, I was president of the Board of Aldermen for 8 years. So I have certainly some history there.
And I understand it's kind of a family business, isn't that correct?
Well, the business is not good, but if you want to refer to it as a family business, my late father was Albert Red Villa, who represented the 11th Ward for 37 years, from 1953 until the time of his death in 1990. So he is currently holds the record for being a seated alderman in the city, and the aldermanic chambers are named after him, something that he would be very proud of. Different time, different city, different era, but he was a Damon Runyon character, and he could get your day off changed.
That's impressive, and I know you're very proud.
I am indeed.
And speaking of a different time and different city, it was a different time and different city back in the 90s as well, when you actually helped to start our station that we're celebrating 25 years of. Tell us, what was it about that you said this city needs something different? We need a way to communicate.
Well, I think with the advent of cable television, and probably some of your viewers can't relate to the fact that there haven't always been, at my age, you remember, then there was Channel 5, and you had to put a magnifying glass in front of your television to get Channel 5 to show up.
And remember when it would be all fuzzy at midnight and everything would go off and you'd hear the Star Spangled Banner?
I do. A lot of my aldermanic colleagues dressed like that test pattern when the TVs would go off. Having said that, with the advent of cable TV, and that had a rather sordid beginning in the city of St. Louis, because there were some, needless to say, some power grabs, so to speak. And to make a long story short, as part of the ordinance that established the cable TV and what company was going to be able to get the franchise for the city, and keep in mind, those franchises were extremely coveted. Would be like getting a gaming license. If you got the cable TV franchise for the city of St. Louis, you ultimately stood to make a fair amount of money. So as a result of that, I think they actually embedded and implanted in the ordinance the fact that whichever company was going to get the franchise for the city of St. Louis, it was time to, in effect, do some public programming. And you know, today the word that I don't like, but it's very vogue, is transparency. And I think that, you know, like everything else, thank God, the Board of Aldermen has evolved. But certainly there was a time when there wasn't public programming. And I think a lot of the great work that this very station does, you know, people kind of take it for granted now.
Sure.
But there was a time when, you know, City Hall just was not covered at all. But in those days, the Post-Dispatch, there were actually 2 reporters that would sit and cover the aldermanic meetings. Those days are long gone.
So is that why you decided that we needed something to cover the meetings? Is that what your main goal was?
I think we felt that, you know, the fact that there were 28 members of the board, that the whatever transpired there, in effect, really covered each and every segment of the city, and there was a reason for all the citizens, whether they liked it or not, to know what's going on there. And as a result of that, I think it's involved the crew that is sent down there now, or I know most of them. They do an excellent job, but I think we've come a long way since the advent of it.
And so, speaking of coming a long way, you actually had a show then. Tell us about your show, and then we can talk about the progression since then.
Yeah, the 8 years that I was president of the Board of Aldermen, we would have a show every other week, and I don't know if the name of it was Ask the President. We'd have to check with Andre for what the title was.
Andre knows everything, of course.
Yes, we didn't have a contest, but whatever we called it. And I would bring in either individual aldermen or the Director of Public Safety or the Mayor's Chief of Staff. And, you know, on twice a month, it was an overt attempt to, in effect, educate the viewers about what went on at the St. Louis Board of Aldermen. And, you know, it's like any other legislative body. If you don't watch us, and I mean that figuratively and literally, we can do some damage. So as a result of that, you know, we felt it was a huge step in the right direction to share, you know, the inner workings of the Board of Aldermen.
And it's been wonderful. So now we're at 25 years, and we're going to just quickly, briefly, can you tell me, 25 years have gone by, what have you seen to you that you're most impressed with?
Just like anything else, your equipment has improved. I think the quality of the programming has improved, and you know, people said, well, you know, once we go on television, the aldermen are going to talk a whole lot more. I don't think I saw that happen. You know, some days we're in moods to be cantankerous, and other days we're not. But I think the fact of the matter is that if you want to view your individual alderman, see how he or she votes, and follow the issues of the day, whether it be an issue as controversial as you know, the building of a stadium, whether or not we do, you know, build a stadium or don't build a stadium. What do we surrender in exchange for trying to get the National Geospatial Agency? You know, all those things were certainly topical, and I think more importantly, to the residents of the city of St. Louis, we spend $1 billion of their tax dollars there every year. And so we, you know, having grown up in the business, government affects you each and every day.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that we've been able to cover the Board of Aldermen meetings as well as all the other shows we've been able to produce. And I want to thank you personally for getting us started.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It was the right thing to do.
It was. Tom Villa, 11th Ward. Thank you so
Cassandra.
much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Ivy, the interview with Tom Villa was so, you know, it was just informative about how it all began and his work as an alderman, his family's history as an alderman.
Really, really neat and instrumental to have that vision.
Yes.
To say we need it, and then here we are, you know, 25 years later, doing what we do. And thank you for watching all those years as well, for those of you who've been with us. So speaking of you viewers at home, we have a little trivia for you.
It's called STL Trivia, and it's about St. Louis and STL TV.
All right, so what year was the internet launched in Missouri?
I have to think on that one.
All right.
Here's another one.
All right.
What was the name of the first TV show that aired on STL TV? If you were listening, you should know. That's an easy one.
I do know that one. Well, I know you're waiting anxiously for the answers, so here they are. The internet was launched in Missouri in 1993.
Really? That's amazing.
It seems pretty recent, to be honest with you. But
it does.
If you back to high school, or 1993 was a long time ago.
Yeah. And what do we do without the internet The library, that's right. And the name of the first TV show that aired on STL TV was Trees and You. Amazing what you learn.
Of course.
Something new every day here at STL TV.
It's perfect.
It is.
You know, we like to keep things active and keep you informed. That's for sure.
Absolutely. That's why you stick it right here. Just leave it there. You can cook, clean, come back every day. Speaking of learning something new, we just learned how our station, which was first called City 16, began, and the change that took place through 1999.
Now we're going to find out what changes happened starting in the year 2000.
You know, it was a pretty big year, the year 2000. Brought in a new millennium.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of fear about what would happen.
Right. Did you stockpile your cans of food and all of that?
No, I thought that the internet was going to blow up. Remember? And here at City 16, it also brought in a new name, City TV 10.
I love that name.
We remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had a new name, and at the same time, technology was moving at the speed of light. Texting was, and still is actually, all the rage, and it was the beginning of social media. Ay, ay, ay.
Okay. It is. It's been a big change. Now, just think about the evolution of televisions, right? So you've got the flat panel televisions. Now we've got smartphones, right? Digital cameras, no waiting for film to be developed. And we're also in the year 2000. Those all were happening then.
That just seemed like it just exploded.
It really did.
Within a couple of years. The good thing about new technology is that it's usually smaller, and smaller cameras made it easy for us to capture what was happening in the city and bring it back into the studio.
It really has been nice. Definitely more portable. That's also why we were able to produce more than 20 new shows between the years 2000 and 2007.
That's amazing. 20 new shows. Boy, we were really busy. Let's take a look.
Here at what was then City TV 10, we ushered in the new millennium with more than just a new name. We added a few new shows as well. Shows such as City Corner, which featured events and resources found in the city. And for sports enthusiasts, we brought you Inside Sports, where you could catch casual conversations with sports experts and icons.
Back to Inside Sports, I'm Todd Blackstock. Well, joining us now is a woman who excelled in basketball, track, and golf at Fort Zumwalt South. She played college basketball at Columbia College and Missouri Baptist, and now she's the owner and general manager of the St. Louis Surge. And this time, we'd like to welcome Kalia Collier to Inside Sports. Kalia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And since to some, variety is the spice of life, in 2000 we introduced Montage, a show that was just as diverse as its name suggests.
It's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to.
Next was One-on-One with Watt, facilitated by City TV 10 host Lauren Watt, who invited local guests to discuss current political and sometimes controversial topics. In 2001, City TV 10 took steps towards inclusion and launched the first Spanish-speaking television show to air in the state of Missouri, called Ahora San Luis.
Ya Rue Lafayette es parte de lo que se demuestra en la comunidad de Lafayette Square. Desde el 2009, Araceli Kopilov Zimmer y su equipo en Rue Lafayette han estado trabajando bien fuerte para entretener y presentarle comidas a la gente que visita esa área de Lafayette Square. Así es que conmigo es un gran placer que está hoy la codueña de Rue Lafayette, Araceli Kopilov Zimmer. Y Araceli, bienvenida a Ahora San Luis.
Gracias.
With serving our entire population in mind, we then added How's Your Mental Health, a show that discussed the concerns and resources for those whose lives have been touched by mental illness. And then we took you behind the scenes to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all of the ins and outs of various department jobs and the people who do them on Hard at Work. From hard work to lifestyles of the rich and famous, in 2002, St. Louis became the gateway to the stars as host Cassandra Walker chatted with celebrities on Conversations.
You all know that he was on Welcome Back Card. He was Boom Boom Washington. I know I don't have to say that, but I'm going to tell you. And you were the only African-American male teenager at that time in a sitcom. Did you realize
Myself
that?
and Jimmy Walker. Jimmy was on Good Times. It was Jimmy and I, and the other person that was close to black was Freddie Prinze.
That's
Puerto Rican.
Close.
We used to always talk about it back in that day.
2003 also saw the region's first one-hour live variety program called Best of the STL, which featured live guests, a chef, a band, and a live studio audience on every show.
Tell us a little bit about what it was like going from St. Louis, then you went to SLU, and then you made it to the league. I know you can't tell the long story, but what's the short of it?
Well, it's been a fun ride. You know, coming from where I come from, being from St. Louis, just having the opportunity to travel around, not only the United States, but around the world to play basketball. A lot of these organizations have given me the opportunity to play, take care of my family, bring what I've learned back to St. Louis, and just enjoy life, and that's what it's about.
Also in 2003, Vostra, the region's first Bosnian show, aired, showcasing the events and people within St. Louis's Bosnian community. Next, Comptroller Darlene Green, in an effort to help serve St. Louisans better, began broadcasting It's Your Money here at City TV 10. And since we're helping viewers get financially fit, we started helping our audience members get in good physical shape as well, with our newly debuted fitness program called Stayin' Fit. In 2003, we presented Home in the City to help give homebuyers a handle on new housing and community options. In 2004, the St. Louis Visitors and Convention Bureau sponsored the program Be a Tourist in Your Own Town and introduced us to little-known St. Louis sites. We also introduced Turnaround St. Louis, which discussed strategies for keeping St. Louis vibrant and beautiful. In 2007, we began an animal rescue initiative and featured the segment Adopt a Pet, which was a favorite of animal lovers. Last but not least, 2007 brought Taking It to the Streets, which is where City TV 10 crews talked to St. Louisans to find out how they felt about the issues of the day.
It's freaking awesome. It's great. It's great for baseball. It's great for St. Louis. It's wonderful. It's real exciting. The last month has been great. 10 games back, and now they're in the playoffs. It's awesome. It's good.
I'm excited. Anytime St. Louis is winning and we're all winning, and it's a beautiful day and it's going to be an awesome game. Better be a win. I love Yachty. I love Pujols, and I'm excited to see him, and I'm excited we're down here. I love being down here.
I feel the Cardinals are going to take the whole season. They're going to sweep the whole thing, and they're going to be champions again. Go Cards!
I'm very proud. Like I say, it was a miracle that we got here, but once we got here, I hope we can stay here, and I hope that we can make it.
I am just in awe. A month ago, I didn't give them a chance, but I'm so happy.
They're going to win it. They're going to go all the way. They're going to become the Cardinals they want to be. St. Louis, STL, baby!
That was a lot of shows. It seems like just yesterday we were doing those shows, but we covered everything that happened in the city.
We really did, and it was exciting time to have a front row seat.
Yes.
We had it, Cassandra and I had it by being able to be there, as well as our co-hosts, but also we brought that to you.
Anything we thought was important, we made sure that they got a hold of it and got to see it. Even from whether it was demolition to building up to sports teams, we covered it.
We certainly did. And guess what, Cassandra?
What? It's that time, isn't it?
It is.
It's time for trivia again.
I love trivia. Okay, friends at home, let's see how you do this time. And by the way, no cheating. Yeah, put the smartphone down.
The second largest inland port in the country is located in Missouri. What is its name?
Inland port.
Inland port. Second largest.
That's a big deal. I'm interested
That
to
is.
find out what that is. Okay.
No cheating.
Okay. Phone a friend?
Right.
No, that's sold. All right, so how about this one, Cassandra? The St. Louis Cardinals changed their name from what in the 1900s?
Yikes, that's like Babe Ruth era. No, even before Babe Ruth. I don't know. I'll guess that one. But here are the answers. The name of the second largest inland port in the country is called the St. Louis Port. Makes sense. And it's located right here in St. Louis. It's comprised of over 19 miles of riverbank off the Mississippi River.
So
Amazing.
interesting. But that makes sense because we became a hub of industry.
We did.
Because of the trade, and that port was a big part of that.
Lots of shipping, lots of trains.
All right. So now for the answer to our second question. In 1900, our favorite hometown baseball team changed their name from the Perfectos to the St. Louis Cardinals.
I wonder how much winning we did after we were the Perfectos. It's not good to be perfectionists, you know.
Yeah. I know. Maybe we're putting people off because we were so
right.
And the same could be said now for our Cardinals, right?
Well, we're awesome.
In the
what can we say?
Play, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, I like the name Cardinals.
Perfecto.
Perfecto with the
Yeah.
Amazing. I did not know that. Wow. Well, Ivy, I'm really enjoying our stroll down memory lane.
Yeah, it's been fun. I like being reunited with you as well, Cassandra.
I do too.
And I'm actually learning a lot too.
I am too. You always learn.
I knew everything.
I'm telling. When you come to the studio, you learn always, and when you watch us, of course. Well, let's recap. We saw the early years of the station and how it got started, including some of our name changes through 2007.
True, but the biggest changes over the years have been the types and number of programs we've added for our viewers.
Definitely. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. Our viewers.
It's right. It's all about you. And if you think we were busy before, you better just wait to see what we've been up to over the last several years since just 2008.
Ooh, amazing. I can't wait. So let's check it out. There is so much going on here at STL TV, Ivy. It's amazing. I don't know how we keep up with it all, but we do. And that was so much fun to watch.
It really was. It was especially fun to see the throwbacks, you know.
You know, Throwback Thursday, Friday, Tuesday. We're always throwing back.
Hairstyle, clothing, whatever, you know. But Cassandra, I don't know about you, but one of the things I enjoyed the most over the years was participating in all of the events in our community.
I love that. Getting out in the community. People always knew who STL TV was. And you know who else they knew? Andre Holman.
Yes,
but that's another story. There's been so many exciting things that we've had the privilege of covering.
And one of my favorites was the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade.
I
Still
love
is
that.
a good favorite in our community.
So much fun. You go out there, you get to have your green, your beads. It's great.
So my family came in from California.
Really?
And they got to experience that in Dogtown and really had a great time. And my grandpa always claimed that we had Irish roots. So
really?
This is kind of a cool thing for my family
Wow.
to do in St. Louis.
Then I'll claim that with you.
Oh, yeah, everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
Exactly.
Yes.
One of the events my family and I always look forward to, speaking of your grandpa, every year was the Gateway Classic weekend. Now that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It brought in the best of the best and lots of people from all over and really brought out the best of St. Louis.
It did. I agree.
And who can forget, of course, Mardi Gras. I think we claim that we're the second largest in the United States.
That's what we say.
Second only to New Orleans. And you
Right.
know what happens at Mardi Gras stays at Mardi Gras.
That's what they say, but there are cameras there because we're there.
No, that's how we got to
Don't tell them though.
it.
There's also the Annie Malone Parade, which is a St. Louis tradition. I love Annie Malone.
You know what? That is a neat one too.
It is.
That really brings all of St. Louis together.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone loves it. It's for a cause, and it's been a tradition for a long, long time.
And it's a good cause.
Yes.
But a nice way to celebrate history too.
Absolutely, it is.
You have to reflect so it doesn't repeat itself.
Right. So if you don't know about Annie Malone, Google it. That's what technology does. Well, Ivy, it's been fun reconnecting and reminiscing.
Absolutely, it has. And this show's brought back some really, really good memories.
Yep, almost want to cry. It was a great reminder of what makes St. Louis so special. And to you, our audience, thanks again for joining us and helping us celebrate 25 years of STL TV.
For more on our 25th anniversary, be sure to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and of course, Instagram.
We got it all covered. And of course, keep it right here on STL TV and Experience St. Louis. Stay tuned for more great programming as we take a look back at more great moments from the past 25 years at STL TV. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.